Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill, and I am the e-recruiter here. We are so excited to be able to talk to you today about the BS to MD Train the Trainer program and to talk a little bit more about the SJV Prime Plus program today. Before we get started, let me give you a couple of quick tips. If you need to adjust your audio settings, you can do that in the lower left corner of your screen by clicking the audio settings button. If you'd like to adjust the size of your window, click on view options in the upper portion of your screen. Lastly, and most importantly, we are here to get to those important questions that you have. Go ahead and click on the Q&A button, send in those questions, and we will have time at the end of the program to get to those questions live. We are also fully staffed behind the scenes with content experts who may be able to get to those prior to the end of the program as well. We understand that some of you may have limited time with us today, so we are making this recording available at a later date, and we will give you more information on where you can gain that access later on. Once again, my name is Ricky Hill, the e-recruiter here at UC Merced. Great pleasure to be with you today. At this time, I'd like to hand things over to my colleague, Noreen.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Noreen Ballos. I'm the admissions advisor for SJV Prime Plus at UC Merced. Thanks a lot for joining us today so we can tell you about our program. I'll hand it off to Kira, who is our UCSF partner.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kira Shea, and I'm the SJV Prime Plus program coordinator. And I'd like to echo Noreen. Thank you all for being here today. It's really important, your partnership, working to recruit and support our learners from the Valley for the Valley as they prepare to apply to the SJV Prime Plus program. We truly could not make this happen without any of you, so thank you. So I'd like to start by going into a program overview. Next slide, please, Noreen. Alrighty, so we wanted to start by giving a zooming out 30,000-foot view and a little bit of history and context around where the SJV Prime Plus program started. So the University of California has historically demonstrated their commitment to serving and uplifting underserved communities across the state through the UC programs in medical education, also known as UC Prime. So UC Prime are unique medical school programs that supplement standard training with additional curriculum tailored to meet the needs of various underserved populations. Each of the Prime programs that already exist around the state demonstrates the University of California's commitment by identifying the most medically underserved populations and increasing access to medical education to prepare students to serve as physicians in their own communities. Each of these programs are funded by the California legislators with the goal of increasing primary care physicians in California. Core to the Prime program is that the two strongest predictors of where physicians will practice are where the physician completes his or her medical training and where the individual was raised. Based on the success of Prime across all of the UC medical schools, legislation has expanded funding to focus on the San Joaquin Valley, and last year provided an appropriation that will further enhance the SJV Prime program to become the SJV Prime Plus, which is an 8-year BS MD program pathway that we're here to talk to you all about today. And this is the first of its kind for UC Prime. So bear with us, we are all going on this journey together. Next slide, please. So now zooming in just a bit more to the current San Joaquin Valley Prime program, also known as SJV Prime. So since 2019, UCSF and UCSF Fresno have been partnering to run the SJV Prime Plus or Prime program, investing in the future generations of physicians by expanding access to medical education pathways in the Valley. All of the curriculum and a little more than half of the training occurs in the Valley and prepares students to practice, again, from the Valley, for the Valley, in the Valley. And this program has been wildly successful and will be graduating the first cohort of doctors in 2023. Next slide, please. So now I want to show you all what this transition plan is going to look like. So that being said, where are we now? So today we're here again to talk about this new expansion program, which is the San Joaquin Valley Prime Plus BS to MD pathway. So what does this expansion look like? So right now students can complete, and this is on the top half, Students can complete their BS degree at any four-year university in California. After they graduate from their four-year university, they then apply to the SJV Prime program through UCSF School of Medicine. Once accepted, students complete the first 1.5 years in San Francisco and the last 2.5 years at UCSF's regional campus at UCSF Fresno. So this program, again, the curriculum is tailored and the training prepares students to practice in the San Joaquin Valley. Now, we're going to be building off of the success of the San Joaquin Valley Prime program and our current partnerships with UCSF, UCSF Fresno, and UC Merced to launch the San Joaquin Valley Prime Plus program. So as you can see, SJV Prime will expand and merge into San Joaquin Valley Prime Plus. And so there are 3 key differences that, and I have some of them on there highlighted in yellow, where we're going to be seeing those differences, is that students will apply straight out of high school, and this is the only entry point to the program. The baccalaureate portion must be completed at UC Merced compared to before where it was any university. And the first 1.5 years of medical school will no longer take place in San Francisco, but instead at UC Merced. So the main goal of this expansion program, again, is to ensure that students will complete all of their education and medical training in the Valley. Next slide, please. And so then a deeper dive now into what is SJV Prime Plus. So the mission of SJV Prime Plus is to increase the number of future physicians from the San Joaquin Valley who are committed to practicing in the Valley in an effort to advance health in the region and address the physician shortage. How do we plan to do that? This program plans to do this by leveraging our partnerships to recruit, educate, and support the future doctors who are from the Valley and for the Valley, where all training will take place entirely in the San Joaquin Valley to encourage graduates to stay and practice medicine in their communities. So 12 students will be admitted annually, where they will enter the 8-year program directly from high school and earn a Bachelor's of Science from UC Merced and a Doctor's of Medicine, MD, degree from UCSF. Admission to the SJV Prime Plus program when students are applying during their senior year in high school, they will, once admitted, they will hold a conditional acceptance to the UCSF School of Medicine upon achievement of predetermined undergraduate requirements. And Noreen's going to go into a lot more detail around all of the admissions process and information. And when is this happening? So the program is launching now. Applications are open right now, and the first cohort is planned to begin the BS portion of the program at UC Merced in fall of 2023. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over to Noreen as she goes into the admissions process and all of those details.
Thank you, Kara. So in terms of SJV Prime Plus, the obvious question next is, what are we looking for in each of the students and how do they apply? As an ideal candidate, there's many characteristics that we're looking for, and some of those highlighted here is definitely academic rigor, highlighting academic rigor in high school so that we can see that they can carry on with the BS rigor and then all the way into medical school courses. Also, a demonstration of a focused commitment to some extracurricular activity or interest that they have and other things outside of school or within school in terms of clubs and sports, etc. And what experiences have they had in terms of Central Valley itself, the population and the community that has them interested in particular healthcare or medical care. And then, of course, we'll be asking, would they be committed to staying in the Valley, again, from the Valley, for the Valley, and being a part of the healthcare and serving the communities, underserved communities of the Central Valley. So in terms of our timeline for applying into the program and what that looks like, we're already in the middle of that in terms of November and receiving applications. Those applications were already open on October 1st, and the application deadline is November 30th in terms of applying to the UC. Next, we segue into the particular supplemental application where it's focused on the BS to MD program, and we're asking their commitment to becoming a doctor, their interest, some values and ethics questions, but we'll get more into that in another slide. Once we finish up with December and all of the application screenings, we'll move into inviting students to interview sometime in January or February. Once those applicants have been interviewed, then we expect to have admissions, acceptance, and notices out by April, so in the spring. So what's the criteria to qualify and to complete the application and get looked at and perhaps invited for an interview? Preference will be given to those that are in the Central Valley and show ties to the Central Valley. All students in California can apply, but they'll have to show some kind of tie again or interest in serving the Central Valley area. You must be an incoming first year freshman. You could still be a dual applicant or receiving credit, but the point is that they're a first-time freshman starting in the fall of 2023. Minimum GPA of 3.6, and they must apply again to UC Merced because the program's at UC Merced and they'll be completing their bachelor's at UC Merced. Of the qualifying majors for this program, it'll be biology, within biology, chemistry, and bioengineering, and I'll get into those tracks specifically and why those were chosen. Specific to these departments and these majors, you will see the highlighted tracks within those departments that qualify to be part of the BS to MD SJV Prime Plus program. The reason why these tracks were chosen is because these are the majors and tracks that provide the most foundational core coursework that middle school schools are looking for, and UCSF is aligned with UCSF and UCSF Fresno. If someone chooses to have a major outside of these departments or outside of these tracks, it'll be adding more time and more courses. And again, we are a 12 cohort, 8-year model. In terms of the application itself, these are screenshots of what students will actually see. And on the left-hand side, you will see the groupings of some of the departments or majors, and specific to BS to MD applications, students will have to click the health professions menu here, and then it'll expand into the different specific tracks on the right-hand side that I had just highlighted, and these were the ones who would qualify for BS to MD. If someone is choosing other departments or other links, like directly into biological sciences or life sciences, they won't notice that it's the applications BS to MD are in the health professions section. Again, as we move on into other criteria, students will be able to share with us more about themselves through the supplemental application. Supplemental applications are short answer questions with 350 word responses. Some of you may be familiar with this in terms of the University of California personal interest questions that are highlighted here. In terms of that application itself, students only need to choose 4 out of the 8 in order to share a little bit more about themselves. For BS to MD in particular, we're asking students to actually complete all 8 of the supplemental questions, because as you can see, it covers different areas that the School of Medicine is looking for to learn more about the student and what they can explain about their desire and their interest and how they've interacted in many of these topics or areas. In terms of the screening itself of all the applications, the screening committee will be made up of representatives from each campus, UCSF, UCSF Fresno, and UC Merced. In terms of the supplemental applications, this is a direct QR code that will actually show you the exact prompts that students will see for the 8 supplemental questions. So this is a new program, like Kira said, we're really excited about it. And as a new program, there's lots of questions that it raises. And so some of the frequently asked questions and obvious ones are listed here in the next 2 slides, and hopefully gives you more insight. One of the main ones is, do the students need to take an MCAT exam? MCAT is the exam needed, just like SAT or ACT and other standardized testing normally when you're applying to medical school, but for the SJV Prime Plus students, the MCAT is not required for this application. Students, do students need to attend UC Merced for the BS to MD track? The answer is yes. This program is strictly an 8-year model, 12 cohort group, starting at UC Merced, continuing at UC Merced, and finishing at UCSF Fresno. Are there other opportunities to enter the program? No, Kira mentioned earlier that the first and only entry point is as first-time freshman and applying as a high school senior. Again, 12 students will be admitted, and in terms of financial aid will be available to those eligible students for the program. Can students still be accepted to UC Merced? Yes. So the UC application that they submit will also be considered just for UC admission, as well as another process is in place with other reviewers for the BS to MD program. Students will find out about their acceptance around April 2023, and an email will go out, as well as other notifications of acceptance, and or if somebody's been admitted to the wait list. So a wait list will be, we will also have a wait list for students if beyond that 12. So how soon after students submit their UC application will they get directions for the supplemental app? Any students actually applying right now and have their application in for our program, they'll probably receive a notice sometime the first week of this month, how to access the supplemental application. If somebody's still trying to complete their application before November 30th, or they haven't started it yet, then it'll be 3 to 5 days after that submission of their application will they get another notice then to complete the second part of this process. So the next question is, what are the medical specialties that students can pursue? The SJV Prime Plus students can pursue any medical specialty that they're interested in, and they'll learn more about those specialties where they begin the MD portion and then can later down the road decide what their residency will be. So in terms of all of you in direct contact with students and all of you as representatives at the high school, as well as partners with us, some suggested next steps. If you realize some students are interested in, they've heard about it, or you want to share it with them, remind students that upcoming deadlines are November 30th for the UC application, December 15th for the supplemental application. And also there's other advisors that can help with this process as well, in particular to the UC app, and direct them to student advising, as well as if they want to come and tour UC Merced on campus. More help can be provided to students and more time regarding the supplemental applications as they shape and craft their 350 words for those prompts. And then for us in particular, you can always reach out to us through our email, which is primeplus@ucmerced.edu. And that concludes our formal part of the presentation. We'd like to hear from you if there's any questions that you have that haven't been addressed here or you want more clarification on.
Fantastic. Thank you both so much for that great and informative presentation. We do have a couple questions that are coming in. I do think that we may have answered quite a few of them in that FAQ. So thank you so much for that information as well. Let's see. So the first question I see, in the future, will that 12 number of students, will that number increase as time goes on?
So at the moment, the program is actually structured to remain 12 each cohort in each year. That size is because of the curriculum in the program, as well as the pre-clerkships, as well as the mentoring and the shadowing that occurs with the doctors in medical school. So we don't foresee it being more than 12 in terms of the size of the class that continues and can get the quality training that they're going to get in the 8 years for med school. It'll be a small size class each year for the program.
Do you mind me adding to that? So we actually would like, so what we're calling this is phase 1B. So phase 1A was SJV Prime, phase 1B is SJV Prime Plus. So our goal is to have a second phase where we actually can expand the class size, but we don't have a time in mind. And what's going to be required for that is additional funding and additional clinical sites, because right now we don't have enough clinical sites to expand the class size. So the goal is to get the class size to 50 annually. But it will require additional funding and additional clinical sites. And then at that point, we'll have additional entry points outside of UC Merced as the goal.
Very good. Thank you so much. Will there be any funding or scholarships that are a part of this program exclusively for the MD years?
So I think I mentioned in the chat, and hi everyone, my name is Dustin Oji. I'm the Director of Admissions at UC Merced. I mentioned in the chat, we have received one scholarship donation from a former alumni dedicated specifically to students that are a part of this program. We'll be including additional information on our website about funding for the program. However, students that apply for this program will have and be considered for many of the different scholarship opportunities in their undergraduate coursework at UC Merced, as well as they'll have an opportunity to receive a financial aid package along with their acceptance to the SJV Prime program when they're trying to make a decision whether or not they choose to accept their offer.
Very good. Thank you so much, Dustin. And we do have some other questions about the cost of the MD pathway. Do we have that breakdown available?
We don't currently have a breakdown. What we have been telling applicants in general is that we have financial aid packets set aside for the students, and it all depends on their need. So there definitely will be support, but we don't have a definite amount in mind that we can provide people.
Thank you. And can students in the referral pool, can they qualify for this program?
So I can take that one, and the answer is no. Students as part of the referral pool do not qualify for the program. So it's important to note that if a student is interested in applying for this program, they must submit an application directly to Merced, and they have to do so by November the 30th. That's also true for programs like our Chancellor Scholarship Award, as well as our Regent Scholarship.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Let's see what other questions we have coming in here. So we've had a couple questions about the recording. So yes, we are recording this event today, and that will be made available in the future. We also had dropped into the chat the link where that can be found in just the next couple of days. So you might want to click on that now and go ahead and bookmark that page for future reference. Is this program accessible to transfer students?
I can take that one in case anybody else doesn't want to. So right now, the program is only accessible for incoming first-year students. It's not accessible for transfer students.
Fantastic. And then can we just do a quick review of how students qualify for this program? They apply to the UC and there's a supplemental application. Can we touch on that a bit?
Yes, and I'll also make sure the slide goes back up. So the process for a student applying to this program is first start their UC application and indicate UC Merced as one of their campuses, as their campus, in order to start the BS program here. Along with that, we will be expecting responses to a supplemental question, 8 supplemental questions due on December 15th. And submitted by then to help the School of Medicine reviewers determine more about the student. And then students will be invited to interview in January, February. Those are the 3 main processes for, again, a student to share more about themselves and their interest in this program.
Okay, so there is a follow-up about the cost. So the cost of the BS is traditional cost and the MD part is not yet decided. Is that correct?
I wouldn't say that it's not decided. It's that we know that we're going to provide financial aid. We just don't have a definitive amount in mind. We have financial aid packets, and it really depends on the needs of the student. So there's not a set amount.
All right. And then the next question's coming in. We have heard that there are parents out there that are planning to possibly purchase homes in the area to help their student qualify or have a better chance. Is that something that is viable for this program and for acceptance?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that one. And so I think while the requirements for students, for applicants for this program is regional, I think what is really core to the mission of this program is that it is students who have deep ties to the San Joaquin Valley and have lived and been raised in these communities. And so I think the answer to that question would be that it is both regional, but very core to our mission is that, again, it's the lived experiences of students who have these deep ties to the region.
Very good. And then another question regarding financial aid. So if a student's not eligible for financial aid, what exactly do we share with the parents?
Dustin, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. I can handle that from the undergraduate end. It would be very similar to what we currently provide to students. You know, we always encourage students to complete the FAFSA and to submit that to see if they may qualify for aid. Students are oftentimes surprised by what they do qualify for. But certainly in the undergraduate piece of the application, you know, students will fill out their UC Merced undergraduate application and be considered for all merit-based scholarships that we offer. For the BS, so once the student completes the Bachelor's of Science degree, the medical school part is, I'll hand that off to Kim to talk a little bit more about, but I think probably very similar to the undergraduate process, there are ways that they'll look at a student for any type of financial aid offer. At least on the Bachelor's of Science piece, you know, a lot of our awards are either based off of merit or based off of needs. So certainly a student who is a part of this program would be considered for both based off of their individual situation. So I'll hand it off to Kim to talk about the UC San Francisco part.
Yeah, I agree with Dustin. It's similar. It's based on the student need. And so filling out the application and finding out, again, how we would tailor support for that particular student. It sounds like this is a question that's super popular. So let me try to get you a more definitive answer. And then if there's a way for us to send that out to people, we can do that after the program. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for that information. And let's see, I think we have another question coming in. Will applicants not hear about their undergraduate decisions until April? Aren't they supposed to hear by the end of March? Can we clarify that a bit? Sure,
I can respond to that one. So it's really important to kind of delineate the decisions that a student will receive. So in admissions, we're obviously charged with, and we try to abide by NACAC best practices, which is announcing an admissions decision before May the 1st. So students will receive a decision about their UC Merced admissions sometime in the month of March, as usual. Their decision regarding the BS to MD program will come out, you know, similar to the chart sometime in April before May the 1st. And that's kind of a goal date of this particular program, is to provide students with a response about whether or not they were accepted to the program before May the 1st, which we know is, you know, a national decision day. And so, you know, as a group, we're working really hard to do this. You know, again, I want to make sure to put it out there. This is kind of our plan for the year, and we're intending to hold to this plan, but it is the first year we've done that. So the dates may change, and that's why we're being a little bit less specific about the individual dates, because this is the first year of the program. And so these are our targeted dates, and our goal is to have a decision for those students before the May the 1st decision deadline for most applicants.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dustin. I do want to just give a quick reminder for folks that we are recording this event, and we did just recently drop into the chat the link where that replay, the instant replay on demand, will be located in the next couple of days. So make sure you bookmark that page. And we also can drop into the chat the email address in case you have additional questions that pop up later on for clarification. I know we had a couple financial aid things today and anything else that we may still be in development. So we'll go ahead and drop that into the chat. Also, I can just read it off to you here. It is prime+@ucmerced.edu, and that is Prime Plus with the word plus spelled out. And that is in the chat now if you'd like to take a screenshot of that. All right, at this time, I'd like to go ahead and just offer our panelists, if anyone does have any type of last word of advice or just piece of information that you'd like to offer today, feel free to open up your microphone and go ahead and offer that to the audience today.
I'll start off. I just want to thank everybody for their time, for coming today. I think it's already been said by our earlier panelists that this is a program that we're super excited about. It's the first time we're expanding it to be 8 years. And so this will be our first class, and we really just want to continue to build on the success. And we know you're key in helping us identify those students who will make a big difference in this community.
Thank you so much, Kim. Do we have any other panelists who might want to give a little farewell today or any last words of advice?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to echo what Kim just said, and thank you all for, you know, without the help of our community partners and without all of you who are the ones who are facing students and are answering all of these questions, thank you. And thank you for supporting our students and learners from the Valley and uplifting them on their journeys into higher education and into the medical pathway. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kira.
And I just parting words from the director of admissions on the undergraduate side. We highly encourage you to and get your students to complete their applications by the November 30th deadline. Again, I just want to reiterate, we will not be accepting late applications or appeals for late applications. And we're going to adhere very closely to all the dates and deadlines with the program. There's been a substantial interest in this program, and so we do suspect that we'll have lots of applicants, but that shouldn't sway your students from applying. We really want Valley students to apply to this program, and that's why we're having this workshop today, is to encourage your students to consider applying, to consider serving the Valley as physicians after they're done with their medical school program. In the future, we'll be providing more of these types of workshops, and we'd be happy to provide additional information to you and your students about encouraging to be a part of this program and hopefully apply again in the future. And so again, I think Noreen will say a little bit more about ways to get in contact with us further, but again, please encourage your students to apply. Those that have shown a commitment to serving the needs of the Valley and really want to stay here and build the community that we all live in and occupy.
Thanks, Dustin. And yes, so the primary way to contact us at the moment is through that email address, primeplus@ucmerced.edu. I may see some of you or your students as I'm on the road in the next couple of weeks. And if not, there's also some visits here on campus where I'll be presenting on the BS to MD program. If you're looking for some requests to have me come out, please, again, just use that email address. Let me know when you'd like me to come visit your school or talk to your class, or even do another webinar directly to your students through Zoom. Again, thanks for taking the time out in the middle of the school day to join us, and we appreciate you sharing this opportunity with your students.
And thank you so much to our audience members and everyone who's joined me on screen today, as well as those behind the scenes getting to some of those questions for us and dropping those fabulous links into our chat box. Just a quick reminder, today has been a great event that we talked about the BS to MD Train the Trainer SJV Prime Plus program. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you at a future event. Have a great afternoon, everyone.